Meeting on vaccine administration of COVID-19 to take place today. Recovery rate touches nearly 70%. Number of recoveries near 16 lakh. Death rate falls further to 1.98%. In Pulwama sector of Jammu and Kashmir, security forces killed one terrorist in encounter. One soldier martyred. Search operations continue. Violence breaks out in East Bengaluru over a controversial and objectionable post on social media. Police fires at mob, creating arson and stone pelting. 2 people dead, 110 arrested. Curfew imposed in violence-hit areas. Those shared are also taken under police custody. IT department conducts a raid on Chinese companies and their associated groups, money laundering being the reason behind the raids. Intense rainfall predicted over plains of northwest India, Gujarat and central parts of India in the coming days. Delhi likely to receive rainfall during the day. In international news, Democrat Joe Biden chooses U.S. Senator Kamala Harris for White House running mate, makes her the first black woman on a major party U.S. presidential ticket. Biden to compete against President Donald Trump in the November 3rd elections. World Elephant Day today. Union Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar said in a tweet, India has nearly 60% of wild Asian elephants because we revere, are more tolerant and affectionate towards animals. Shares a video. And nation celebrates festival of Janmashtami with great pomp and religious fervor. President and Prime Minister greet people on the occasion. Good morning. Welcome to English News. I am Anil Thomas. Now for the stories in detail. A first look at an update on COVID-19 from across the country. Let us now take a look on the update from across the country. Successful implementation of containment strategy, aggressive testing along with standardized clinical management of critical patients have resulted in the rise of COVID-19 recoveries in the country. The recovery rate has crossed 70%, while the case fatality rate has fallen below 2%. Over 16 lakh people have now recovered from the virus. With about 7 lakh tests being conducted each day, the number of active COVID-19 cases in India stands at 6,43,000, which is 27% of the total cases reported so far. India's three-pronged strategy of test, trace and treat is proving to be a success. One tangible outcome of this particular strategy is that the fatality rate in India has dropped to 1.98%. The expert committee on vaccine administration under the chairmanship of Niti Aayog member Dr. V.K. Paul will meet today to consider logistics and ethical aspects of procurement and administration of COVID-19 vaccine. The committee would reach out to all stakeholders, including state governments and pharmaceutical companies. Public and private sectors are working hand in hand on conducting human trials of potential vaccines. The committee would chalk out strategies on the aspects of prioritization of the vaccine administration once it's developed, rollout and cold chain logistics, and training of the people who would be administering it.
जब भी देश में वैक्सीन बनेगी उसका प्रोक्योरमेंट किस प्रकार से होगा, ये जो एक्सपर्ट ग्रुप है ये उस पर जरूर विचार करेगा। किसी देश विशेष में क्या वैक्सीन बन रही है नहीं बन रही है, ये एकदम हाइपोथेटिकल प्रश्न है, इसका उत्तर इस समय नहीं दिया जा सकता है।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will launch the platform for transparent taxation honoring the honest to borrow. The upcoming launch of the platform for transparent taxation honoring the honest by the Prime Minister will further carry forward the journey of direct tax reforms. The event will be witnessed by various chambers of commerce, trade associations, chartered accountant associations, and also eminent taxpayers, apart from the officers and officials of income tax department. Moving to Jammu and Kashmir, in Jammu and Kashmir, one terrorist has been shot down during an encounter in Pulwama this morning. A joint operation was launched on Tuesday evening by Jammu and Kashmir Police and the Indian Army in Bhutan. Cordon was laid and contact established by forces after Operation Kamrazipura in Bhutan started. One AK-47 along with grenades, pouches and other warlike stores have also been recovered. A soldier was martyred in the line of duty. The search operation is still in progress. Moving down south in Karnataka, violence broke out in the eastern part of Bengaluru on Tuesday night over a controversial and objectionable post on social media by a relative of a Congress MLA. At least 2 people have died due to the violence. The violence broke out in the DJ Halli Kaval Paira Sandra over a post hurting religious sentiments. Congress MLA Akhanda Srinivas Murthy's nephew Naveen is accused of posting the objectionable post on social media. Local youth in the area gathered and attacked the MLA's house. They also burned police vehicles and attempted to torch the house. Violence spread to surrounding areas and police opened fire to disperse the mob. 2 people died while many others were injured in police firing. Home Minister of the state Basavaraj Bommai has reviewed the situation and ordered police to bring law and order in control in the area. Meanwhile, the MLA's relative who posted on social media the objectionable post has been taken into custody. A total of 110 accused have been arrested for arson, stone pelting and assault on police. Those who shared the post on social media have also been taken into police custody. Bangalore City Commissioner Kamal Pant said that the situation has been brought under control and he appealed to all to cooperate with police to maintain peace. The Income Tax Department has conducted raids against some Chinese individuals and their local associates for allegedly indulging in a money laundering racket involving 1,000 crore rupees using shell or dubious firms. According to the Central Board of Direct Taxes, the searches were launched based on credible inputs that a few Chinese individuals and their Indian associates were involved in money laundering and hawala transactions through a series of shell entities. The tax officials raided some bank officials involved in the scam. Based on the credible information that few Chinese individuals and their Indian associates were involved in money laundering and hawala transactions through a series of shell entities, a search action was mounted at various premises of these Chinese entities, their close confederates and a couple of bank employees, confirmed sources in the finance ministry. Several search action revealed that at the behest of Chinese individuals, more than 40 bank accounts were created in various dummy entities, entering into credits of more than 1,000 crores of rupees over this particular period. The cause of money laundering is evident from the fact that a subsidiary of the Chinese company and its related concerns have taken over 100 crores of bogus loans from shell entities for opening businesses of retail showrooms in India. Further incriminating documents in respect of hawala transactions and laundering of money with active involvement of bank employees and chartered accountants has been found as a result of search action. There are also evidences of foreign hawala transactions involving Hong Kong and US dollars that have been unearthed. Further investigations are under progress. To strengthen the armed forces by relying on indigenous capability, to take forward the initiative of Atmanirbhar Bharat, the Defence Acquisition Council in its meeting held under the chairmanship of Defence Minister Rajnath Singh in New Delhi on Tuesday accorded approval for capital acquisitions of various platforms and equipment required by the Indian Armed Forces. Proposals for an approximate cost of 8,722.38 crores were approved. The DAC approved procurement of 106 basic trainer aircraft from Hindustan Aeronautics Limited to address the basic training requirement of the Indian Air Force. Post-certification 70 basic trainer aircraft will be initially procured from HAL and the balance 36 after operationalization of the HTT-40 fleet Indian Air Force. The DAC also approved procurement of an upgraded version of Super Rapid Gun Mount, which is fitted as the main gun on board Navy and Indian Coast Guard warships from BHEL. Time now to take a look at the flood situation and weather updates from across the country. Floods have wreaked havoc in many parts of the country. Flood situation in Bihar remains grim. 16 districts of the state are under the grip of floods. On Tuesday, 1,79,000 cuses of water were released from the Koshi barrage, while 1,77,000 cuses of water was discharged from the Gandak barrage in Valmiki Nagar. Around 1,360 gram panchayats have been hit, and the flood situation is particularly serious in Darbhanga, Muzaffarpur and Saran districts. Flood water has entered into houses in urban areas of Darbhanga and Muzaffarpur. Moving to Uttar Pradesh, where many parts of the state are also affected due to floods. Heavy rainfall occurred at various places during the last 24 hours, and the IMD has also forecast rain at most places in the state in the next 24 hours. Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath visited Gorakhpur to take stock of the flood situation. The Chief Minister held a meeting with the officials and reviewed the flood situation. Moving down south to Kerala, where the death toll in the Idukki landslide has risen to 52. 3 more bodies were recovered from the wreckage. In Pettimudi near Rajamala, NDRF firefighters and police department personnel are engaged in search operations of the missing 19 persons believed to be trapped. These people have been missing since August 7th. The water level at the Mullai Periyar Dam in Idukki district has reached 136.85 feet. The Kerala government on Saturday asked the Tamil Nadu government to release water in a phased manner through the tunnel from Mullai Periyar to the Vaigai Dam. World Elephant Day is being celebrated today to bring attention of various stakeholders to support various conservation policies to help elephants. The majestic Asiatic elephant is revered in Indian religion and culture and is an intrinsic part of its geographic landscape. The Environment Minister in a tweet said, and I quote, "India has nearly 60% of wild Asian elephants, not just because of the strong wildlife laws, but because Indians revere and are more tolerant and affectionate towards animals." On this World Elephant Day 2020, let us reaffirm this bond of coexistence with Hathi Hamara Sathi. He also shared a video explaining various aspects of our national heritage.
India is supporting more than 60% of global Asian elephant population. 30 elephant reserves have been identified by our states. India has also taken several initiatives and set standards for conservation of Asian elephants.
Well, the first World Elephant Day was held way back on August 12, 2012. Coinciding with this day, Padma Shri awardee Dr. Kushal Kanwar Sharma, who has earned the name of the Elephant Man of Asia, spoke about the existing issue of man-elephant conflict and his checkered career spanning several decades, taking forward this particular cause of protecting and conservation of elephants in Assam and elsewhere. Here's more in this report by our correspondent, Duina.
Assam is one of the most affected states in terms of man-elephant conflict. The only reason of the growing tussle of human-elephant conflict is the population explosion. Speaking to DD News, the elephant doctor Padma Shri awardee Dr. Kushal Kanwar Sharma said the state government must take concrete measures for population control, which is the only way to reduce the man-animal conflicts in the state. Dr. Sharma also said to save the elephant habitat from encroaching, forest areas need to be extended.
At the time of independence, India's population, human population I mean, was simply 33 crore. And today, we are 139 crore. And that itself explains this situation, because increasing human population means increasing pressure on the habitat. And what is habitat? Where the wildlife is living. That is what we mean as habitat. Now, not only elephants, every other wildlife is suffering.
The elephant doctor further said that since childhood he had a fascination towards this gigantic and intelligent mammal. And when his passion became a profession, as he pursued his graduation in veterinary science, he was overwhelmed and blessed to be a part of their world. Dr. Kushal Kanwar Sharma has been treating and taking care of elephants for over 35 years now. He renders primitive or on-call treatment of elephants, including surgery or subjugation of rogue elephants, and handles over 800 pachyderms every year. Presently, Assam has a total of 5,600 wild elephants and 1,260 captive elephants.
On an average, last 35 years, I have been handling 700 to 800 elephants a year. Elephants are there, so greenery is there. Greenery is there, so oxygen is there. Elephants are there, so water is there. And minus elephants, nothing will be there. So if you really love your blue planet, and remember, we have only one. So we have to stay here, we have to live here, and we have to live a healthy planet for our next generation, subsequent generations.
On World Elephant Day, this elephant doctor appealed to people to protect the environment and cooperate in the conservation of animals, particularly elephants, which are the epitome of all the best that nature has to offer.
Out of the 33 forest divisions in Assam, more than half of them account for 1,100 odd cases over the past 4 years. 359 people have lost their lives in what can be described as the growing tussle of the man-elephant conflict scenario in the state. The government of Assam's decision to form the Rapid Action Task Force is seen as a sincere attempt, but more emphasis to be given on the saving of elephant habitats from encroachment and also to formulate land use plans. Hoping for the situation to improve in future, and on this special occasion, let us all pledge to conserve elephants and protect our environment. In Guwahati with Katie Rao, this is Drina for DD News.
Well, today is the birth anniversary of the father of Indian space program, Dr. Vikram Sarabhai. Every year, Indian Society of Remote Sensing, one of the biggest scientific society in the country, celebrates this day as the National Remote Sensing Day in collaboration with its 26 local chapters spread across the country. This year being the birth centenary year of Dr. Vikram Sarabhai, ISRS invited the renowned Indian space scientist, former chairman of ISRO and the architect of the National New Education Policy of India, Dr. K. Kastoorarangam, on the occasion of NRS Day for addressing the geospatial community in the country. In his recorded webinar address, Dr. Kastoorarangam said that Dr. Sarabhai realized very early the immense potential of satellite remote sensing technologies for a developing country like India and promoted its application in different areas of natural resource management, environmental monitoring and disaster management.
By 1960, here was a visionary in India who found that this vantage point of space which for the first time has been now accessed by the humankind, has very significant implication in the context of his own country, that is India. Today, we have visible region satellites, microwave, hyperspectral systems, cartographic applications, resource sat applications. So a variety, these are all part and parcel of the India's remote sensing capability.
The festival of Janmashtami, which marks the birth of Lord Krishna, is being celebrated in some parts of the country today. To mark the auspicious occasion, people decorate cradles and place Krishna's idol in it while welcoming Krishna's arrival with sweets and savories. Janmashtami celebrations began on Tuesday. Krishna Puja is usually conducted at midnight, hence the celebration continues today. President Ramnath Kovind, Vice President and Prime Minister greeted the nation on the auspicious occasion of Janmashtami. Well, time now to take a look at updates on COVID-19 from across the world. The number of COVID-19 cases have shot up more than 2 crore 5 lakhs, with fatalities worldwide crossing 7,45,000. The US continues to be the worst affected country in the world, with over 53 lakhs 5,000 cases of people contracting the virus and 1,67,000 deaths. In United States of America, Brazil trails behind US in terms of death toll, registering 1,03,000 deaths, followed by Mexico, where the virus has now claimed around 53,000 lives. Bhutan government has announced a nationwide lockdown after a COVID-19 positive patient in Gilbru came in close contact with people in Paro, Thimphu those along the way. Restrictions on movement of vehicles and people have been imposed in many areas. Offices, schools, institutions and commercial establishments will remain closed. This unprecedented lockdown has been imposed to track and isolate all positive cases in a bid to break the chain of transmission. Meanwhile, Bhutan's Prime Minister Lote Tshering held a national COVID-19 task force meeting for proper implementation of the lockdown measures. So far, there are 16 active cases of COVID-19 in Bhutan, with no fatalities. Moving to some international stories, Joe Biden, the Democratic presidential candidate, has named Kamala Harris as his pick for vice president. Harris is the first black woman and the first person of Indian descent to be nominated for national office by a major party, and only the fourth woman in history to be chosen for one of the presidential tickets. In a first public response to the announcement, Harris tweeted, "I am honored to join him as our party's nominee for vice president and do what it takes to make him our commander-in-chief." Well, that's all we have time for in this edition of news. But before we say goodbye, a quick recap of the headlines. Meeting on vaccine administration of COVID-19 to take place today. Recovery rate touches nearly 70%. Number of recoveries near 16 lakh. Death rate falls further to 1.98%. In Pulwama sector of Jammu and Kashmir, security forces killed one terrorist in an encounter. One soldier martyred. Search operations continue. Violence breaks out in East Bengaluru over a controversial and objectionable post on social media. Police fires at mob, creating arson and stone pelting. 2 people die, 110 arrested. Curfew imposed in violence-hit areas. Those sharing those videos are also taken under police custody. IT department conducts raid on Chinese companies and their associated groups, money laundering being the reason behind the raids. Intense rainfall predicted over plains of northwest India, Gujarat and central parts of India in the coming days. Delhi likely to receive rainfall during the day. In international news, Democrat Joe Biden chooses US Senator Kamala Harris for White House running mate. makes her the first black woman on a major party US presidential ticket. Biden to compete against President Donald Trump in the November 3rd US elections. World Elephant Day today. Union Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar said in a tweet, India has nearly 60% of wild Asian elephants because we revere and are more tolerant and affectionate towards animals. Shares a video too. Nation celebrates festival of Janmashtami with great pomp and religious fervor. President and Prime Minister greet people on the occasion. That's all we have time for in this edition of news. But remember to follow social distancing norms. Wear your face mask at all times when you venture out. Also, wash your hands every 20 minutes. And if not possible, use a sanitizer to keep your hands clean. Thanks for watching.